again, welcome back to the next video. Today I'm talking about DePalma's Redacted, another part of my DePalma's season, the second DePalma's season. The reason I'm going for Redacted next after Domino is I'm kind of interested at the moment in his later films because they are different from his early films, but they're very tied to them at the same time. But since about 2004, when he moved away from Hollywood, he's been less interested in a lot of... Well, actually 2000 after Mission from Mars. Even though he's kept the melodramatic elements of his films up, because he likes the melodrama and likes the opera, everything's a bit more toned down because he's been filming in Europe, he's had European collaborators, and it's been a different style, a slightly different style to his films. Plus he's a bit older now, and maybe he wants to dig under the surface of the images more. But they feel different. They feel that they're kind of very self-aware of the excesses of his earlier films and the excesses of the visual arts, and they're just trying to be a bit pricklier about what art means and what's going on in the films. I mean, Redacted already covered It's About Dreams, and it was a beautiful film. Redacted was followed by Black Dahlia, which was his last kind of studio-tied film. So it was kind of half and half, but it was kind of over the top. It was based on James Ellroy novel, and it was kind of over the top. Well, more than kind of, it was really over the top. And it was almost like a parody of De Palma, a parody of film noir and the Hollywood system. So it felt half tongue-in-cheek and half like looking at the corrosive elements that were building towards the myth of Black Dahlia. It was based on the James Ellroy novel, which was already covering that, but De Palma seemed to focus on a lot of the myths and a lot of the craziness which created this myth, and a lot of the flaw. Because the Ellroy book's much more about the detectives trying to discover who did it and the complications of them. In the film, they are complicated characters, but it's almost like they're a parody of complicated characters in some way. It's kind of aware of the film you're watching and kind of putting in quotation marks some of the traumas that they've inflicted upon. So it's actually quite interesting and kind of weird at the same time, because it's tongue-in-cheek a little bit, but it's still a very beautiful film. So I don't know until you watch it, but it is kind of complicated and weird. It's probably his least successful of those films, but it's still interesting. I've already covered Domino. I'm going to cover Passion very soon. So we've now got Redacted. Redacted is the most controversial film of the last 2 decades, probably, because it dealt with Iraq at a time when no one wanted to be doing with Iraq. It was one of those films that came in the follow-up to the invasion of Iraq and didn't do very well when it was released. But it was a very low-budget film, so I think it was fine. It won some awards in Europe. It got either critical praise or it was derided as amateurish and horrible. Politically, the right wing hated it because it was showing American soldiers being scumbags. The left wing kind of agreed with the politics, but I don't think they liked De Palma, so it was kind of, again, he's had a kind of weird reputation with them, so it's very complicated. It's a very complicated film, so in a lot of ways it was intentionally complicated by the way it was shot and the way what De Palma was doing with it. So it's very kind of scratching the eyeballs of what you expect from a film. For a start, the story is very basic. It's basically the same story as Casualties of War, basically. And you get all this in the trailer, so I'm not really spoiling it, right? Is a platoon in Iraq attack the home of a young woman, rape and kill her family, and the aftermath is eventually get caught, but the army is not so keen on prosecuting until it becomes too big and it has to come out. That's the story. It's the same story as Casualties of War. De Palma seems very interested in this idea of soldiers going mad in country. The whole idea of someone in a culture they can't understand, and the tension it creates, and the whole idea of an occupation, like a military occupation, is never going to go well. It's always going to be a problem. The people don't want you there. You don't want to be there, and everyone knows you're there for the services of big business. You're not really there for any altruistic reason. Maybe some people delude themselves into thinking they are, but they're not, really. And this film makes that clear. They never actually mention the oil, but it's always in the background. It's always like they're there for this. But it goes around it, but only because the people involved wouldn't come out and say it, but everyone knows they're there for a reason, a financial reason. And the occupants of the land are just in the way. And the way that DePalma creates the film is he does it like using the found footage, but he does a different thing from most found footage films. There's two things he does different. First thing is the actors themselves. A lot of found footage films still have actors acting as if they're in a film. They're modulated to be either they're very sketchy or they're very rough, or they're modulated to be like acting. The way acting in films is fake, but it's approximating what you think is real life in your head, so you accept it as real even though you know it's fake, because they try to get emotions to attach themselves to what you want from the story. So you're half in with them. You're hoping the actors will pull it off. So you're tied to the acting, even though the acting's fake. But if a skilled actor can make it feel real, even though you know it's fake, it's always an agreed upon lie, which DePalma's used in a lot of his films as well. This agreed upon lie. It's a dreamlike state. It's something not real, but there's something real in the way it affects your mind. In this film, DePalma doesn't do that. He has actors who are very amateurish, and they're probably professional actors, but they don't have much experience. And I think he hired them to be like decent enough and not great. It wasn't a big budget film, it was a low budget film, so he couldn't afford much. But he used this to his advantage to actually have actors who feel much more like what you see when you see an interview with someone who's a soldier or who's a person in the street. The kind of awkwardness, the weird silly jokes they make, the weird silly glances they make, they're not awkward, they're awkward in front of the camera, they don't know how to show themselves in front of the camera, they feel kind of weird and off. That's just a normal person. That's the way we deal with each other all the way through our lives. That's the kind of stuff that Alan Clark does a lot of. Like, he brings his own actors in and finesses it slightly so it still feels like real. In this one, DePalma doesn't finesse it at all. He just lets them go and try and do the actual showcase the way that a person talking to a camera to their buddies would say. And it would be slightly over the top. They would be spouting cliches and nonsense, which this film does. Never lets you forget that these characters think they know what they're talking about. They don't actually know what they're talking about. They haven't been that, they're not that educated. One or two of them have some training, some of them are educated, but most of them aren't. And even the ones who are educated are still spouting cliches of stuff they've heard too. So everyone involved is intensely, from the director's point of view, spouting cliches. Kind of like what Starship Troopers are doing, where they made it even more bland, and they blandicized it in that Starship Troopers. This one, it's more rough and, it's awkward. And to a lot of people, that was just like, oh, that's obviously bad acting. They didn't know how to direct his actors. Well, DePalma's done a lot of films. He knows how to direct actors. He just was he pushed this sort of style of, sort of improvisationary style, and let the actors and their flaws and the problems come through. He wasn't trying to get performances that were like very interior or trying to show the interior state of the person. It was much more like, how the person react like this. It would be awkward, it would be slightly self-aggrandizing for how emotional they feel and how they're trying to lie to themselves that they did something and they didn't. And it's that kind of feeling. They don't go for close-ups that would help the actors portray what a normal film would have help with the lighting, with the camera work to portray. But instead it's a bland, flat image, and that's what you're stuck with. It's an image like this, of its security image. So they never get the aid they need to be 3D characters. They're two-dimensional beings trapped in this world without the education, without the support of their army, without any kind of support, and eventually they go mad. Which for me, it was aggravating but also interesting. Like, I'm not going to say these were great performances, they weren't, but they weren't meant to be. And that kind of push-pull, the same way you get in Star Trek Troopers, the push-pull, you know it's intentional, it can be irritating, but it's still something fascinating at the same time. Because it's denying you that interior feel that a director who works with known actors can sometimes get with like Bresson or Alan Clark. It's not doing that. It's like, no, I'm going to keep these people rough and annoying the way people in real life are rough and annoying. And you want to punch them sometimes. So there's that thing, and you get all these scenes that the further we go towards the rape and then the aftermath, you get a lot of self-aggrandizing scenes and self-loathing scenes, which feels much more like what people would actually do if they're in the situation. But when you actually see it, you think, well, where's all the fakery that would make me feel more? It's not there. It's just showing you this is what these like animals would behave like and how they would avoid responsibility. The second thing De Palma does is he points out at every opportunity you watch the film and its exploitation. You know, this exploitative thing, these cameras everywhere. Because you've got the diary. It's almost like it's been edited in very rough form between a few different documentaries and footage from different places. So some stuff's like HD, some stuff with like soundtrack, which is from a French documentary about the war, very liberal bias. You know, it's very feels for everybody. The soldiers are there and how horrible it is for them. The people are there, how horrible it is for them. Then you have one of the soldiers, Angel Salsar, shoots footage for a documentary he's going to make to get him into film school because he's in the army to get a scholarship to get into film school. And he doesn't have a clue, he just thinks filming stuff is enough. So you get all his footage where he talks to his fellow Marines, or not Marines, fellow soldiers, grunts. He talks to them. That's where they spout all the nonsense to him as if they're trying to be profound. And it's like, it's like when you watch something like Question Time, people talk garbage usually. It's like, what the hell am I watching? I feel bad for humanity. You know, so it's that kind of thing. And so that footage is rougher, it's not full HD, it's a bit rougher, it's like a camcorder. Then you just get like cam footage that's obviously someone's found later. Then footage from the internet, like from webcam stuff, then the news. So someone's intercut all of these bits and have left everything raw from what it was. So the French thing is really uber progressive. Some of the websites either the jihadis propaganda or are the reaction from the far leftists in America saying how corrupt the army is and how horrible this is. Then you get the propaganda from the news from different teams and they're never telling you the exact truth. And then the soldiers who don't have a clue. So you've got all these various people with their agendas in the film. And I can mock the leftist French documentary because I'm a leftist, so I'm okay taking the piss at my own side. See, all these elements that are shown towards this tragic story of this family that's ripped apart by these nighttime raids where the father turns out wasn't a jihadi. They're just told to raid his house because one of their people were killed nearby. His house gets raided. He's taken into custody. While he's in custody, these soldiers get drunk and a few of them go and rape, kill his entire family. And it's pretty much suggested afterwards, well, that's going to turn this guy into jihadi. You know, because the thing that's consistent through the whole film is you can see why everyone in Iraq hates Americans. You just see it instantly in their faces, like, why are you here? It's for the money. Please leave us alone. And it's like, They're the invaders. The Americans are the invaders in this situation. They're not doing anything for the people. They're just there, and they're just causing havoc by just being there and making people go through all these checkpoints, which leads to lots of murders, thousands of people dying to catch a few terrorists. And the reason why there's terrorists because they've been invaded. What do you expect? The people get abused by the Americans all the time. The Americans are paranoid, and this paranoia comes through all the drama, and you basically get like people killing each other. I mean, Salazar character, the person who's taking all the footage, he gets kidnapped and murdered on TV, which is a nice little irony there. Like the guy who's trying to find the truth, who got completely confused because he wasn't up to the job, ends up being the dead person on camera. Everyone else, finally, the secrets finally come out and people get arrested, and the self-justifications of why they did it are just ridiculous and stupid, and it just shows there's nothing there in the first place. It was just, these were idiots, these were people brought into the army because they needed bodies. They should never have been there. There should have been a process to actually weed these cycles out and just have normal, mature people in these jobs. They didn't have that. And it's just this mess. And the people who did it don't know why they did it. They're just psychopaths. They're just like white trash psychopaths who are going to do exactly the same thing at home and get arrested and put in jail. But instead they go to another country and cause havoc. It's just, it shows like the mechanisation of war and how people don't really care. And it's all there for the oil. And this is the fallout. People are getting killed all the time. And this is the one story of many suggested. Because you see a big set of photos at the end with people with their eyes blacked out, showing you the tragedies, the deaths of people in Iraq during the occupation, and just how horrible it is and how much a mess it is. What's great about this film really is a lot of the post-Iraq invasion films tend to be kind of middle of the road, sort of liberal, why are we here type of things. This one is much angrier. This is like, why are we here? But these are the consequences of what's happening. And it's rougher and it's more brutal and the acting's more amateurish. But that's what's good about it, because it's showing you how people can't actually articulate what's bothering them. Or they do it in a sort of weak world way that doesn't really work. So you're either going to have like the psychos who are very like Trump supporter types, or who would become like kind of Trump supporting types, or the kind of ineffectual lefties who know what the right thing is but can't do anything about it, and they feel horrible themselves. It shows a total mess. This whole war was a total mess. It was just for money and all the victims left behind. So that's what's great about it. DePalma's are looking at the visualization and what's lies behind it, and all the lies through visuals, through the stories, and who are telling the stories, how everyone's lying in some way, either intentionally or unintentionally. Now everything is obscured and becomes this horrible mess and this tragedy. It's left you with lots of dead people for what? So Redacted is very good, it's very difficult, and it's worth your time. I don't guarantee you'll love it, you probably won't, but it is very interesting. It is a kind of interesting take on the war. De Palma does try a lot of things. Some things don't turn out as good as they may have hoped for, but the attempt is worthwhile, and I think it's really worth your time giving it a shot, because it is a very interesting film. So I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll be back soon with another one. Okay, right, bye.